That was a massive win for Arsenal in the Premier League title race, beating Burnley 3-1. At one point, obviously, Burnley got back into the game and made things difficult for Arsenal. I think they put up a relatively decent showing despite how poor they've been this season. Showed a little bit of quality here and there and made things not as easy as maybe some people thought. I thought it'd be 6 or 7-0 to Arsenal. I'm not even joking. And Arsenal got through it. They showed a lot of leadership, a lot of resilience, especially in the final 20 minutes to kind of get past Burnley by 2 goals of a margin. In this video, we'll break down what this result means for Arsenal. I think it's very symbolic when Spurs drop points. Back-to-back losses now for Ange Postecoglou. The kangaroo is down. And Arsenal will use that as an opportunity, I think, to just look at City and themselves as Premier League title contenders, and Liverpool and Spurs, if they can get those wins, fair enough. But I think the gaps in the squad for Spurs and Liverpool might be a little bit too much. Maybe not Liverpool yet, haven't seen it, but Spurs, not the same without Maddison, of course, and Mickey van de Ven. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, would really appreciate it. Let's just start off with how Arsenal got into the game. Trossard back post late in the first half. Nearly got killed trying to head that in past James Trafford. Beautiful little finish. I really like Trossard in these kind of games against lower level sides at home. I think his movement is almost unplayable. I think centre-backs don't know what to do with him when he drops deep, when he picks up space at the back post, crosses coming in. I really like Trossard, and I don't think Trossard has always had the, every now and then he puts in a stinker of a performance. That's the reality. And when he does get going, when he does play, he's a very big asset for Spurs. He's for Arsenal. He's one of those players where you just think, could he not do 9 or 10 in a row being at a really high level? Because he'd be in the discussion for one of the best players in the Premier League because of what he can offer on the ball, linking up play, and then he's getting a decent goal return for Arsenal since he joined from Brighton. It's just that consistency. It's all well and good doing it against Burnley. I thought he was fantastic today in Jesus' absence. And actually the front three were really electric today as well. But can he do it in the big games? I think we're yet to see it in big games. Even in the Champions League, I think there's been a couple of performances where I thought Lon's away. I remember being quite stiff from Trossard, missing a few chances. He's not a world-class striker, but he could become a world-class forward. He could become a world-class link-up man like Firmino. I compare him a little bit to Firmino. Obviously, Burnley equalise. It's a great bit of work on the left wing. I think it's Colosho who gets past Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu really weak in that position. Tomiyasu gives me one of them as well, a little bit like if he's not 100% fully on it, he can make a mistake as well. If anyone in the back line between Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, who obviously didn't play today, it's Tomiyasu for me that can have a mistake now that Rob Holding's not there. It looks like Tomiyasu is maybe the weakest of all the defensive options for Arsenal, maybe Kyrgios as well. Usually he's a solid option. He's very versatile. He's good on the ball. I think he complements Arsenal's squad very well. I think a little bit weak for the Burnley goal, and Josh Brown, who gets a very rare goal for Burnley at the Emirates. And when I was watching the game, I definitely thought that Burnley had chances throughout the game. I think they deserved to get equal. Did they show enough to push on? Did they show enough to try and be resolute in the second half? I don't know. And they're weird, Burnley, because I think they've come up from the Championship in a certain way with a certain brand of football, and when they need to dig deep, they aren't able to. It's very reminiscent of when Bournemouth got promoted. Scott Parker had them playing very decent football. Solanke scoring 20-odd goals in the Championship. They were dominating the league. When Scott Parker gets sacked from Bournemouth, Gary O'Neill has the licence to change things up and be resilient, get Billing running from midfield. They could pat the midfield at points. Bournemouth played with 4-6-0 against sides last season. Even against Arsenal, when Bournemouth nearly got a result against Arsenal earlier this calendar year. I can't believe that actually happened this year. Crazy. Burnley can't do that because they've got Vincent Kompany. They've shown loyalty, I think, keeping him this far, with all due respect. I want him to stay at Burnley. I love Vincent Kompany. He's a fantastic manager with very limited assets at Burnley. But Burnley will have to question themselves if they want to stay in the league. Can they stay in the league? I don't think they can with the quality. I think, You could put Jesus Christ in the dugout. I don't think he'd be able to work miracles at Turf Moor, with all due respect, with that squad. Maybe something changes in January. A couple of players come in. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. But I don't see enough with Burnley. And I don't think we have the licence keeping Vincent Kompany to go against his principles of what he got Burnley, got him one of the most, out of all the kind of younger managers in English football, he's right at the top in terms of how he's regarded. Obviously, McKenna, Ipswich is doing a sterling job. You're thinking of Enzo Maresca at Leicester City as well. And Kompany's in that kind of discussion for young, exciting managers coming through in the English football pyramid. He's not going to go against his morals to try and keep Burnley in the league, because he's looking at a 20, 30-year lifespan of being potentially a top level coach. And look at Frank Lampard. If he's getting jobs at Chelsea, back-to-back jobs at Chelsea and Everton after Derby, and he was fashionable in the Championship, then so too can Vincent Kompany if he sticks to his principles. But ultimately it means when Burnley have got the precipice of a result at the Emirates, they can't dig in, they can't show enough resilience, and they were a little bit soft. The corner comes in for Arsenal, and Saliba makes it 2-1. It's a big performance, big header from him. And obviously at that point, it was game over for Arsenal. The Vieira red card, I think that's really soft again. I don't think he's trying to hurt anyone. I think he's trying to trap the ball, trying to control the ball. I think it's really weak from the referee again, but it doesn't surprise me. It will get to the point where players will duck out of challenges to the bemusement, to the confusion of football fans of why their player is ducking out of challenges. And it'll just be a rational decision of, let's not put a challenge in case we get sent off, because it's getting so frequent now. I don't think it's a red card. That's my gut. Zinchenko does a Paolo Di Canio. Beautiful little bicycle kick, a scissor kick, however you want to call it. A beautiful little finish. I actually scored one of them today in my game that I play. I actually scored literally the same kind of goal to Zinchenko. It was beautiful on my left foot as well. And Zinchenko had a good game today. He was pulling strings, popping up all over the place, and operating in that kind of overload. And Arsenal will be able to do that in midfield with Jorginho, with Declan Rice. When Partey's back, Havertz had a decent game. They can overload midfield against the likes of Burnley, with all due respect. And I think Burnley, again, going back to that comment earlier, I think they made it easy for Arsenal. And that's just the reality. Arsenal have got a low-key, very, very good run. No one's talking about it. They just beaten Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Luton, Villa. If they get maximum points in these games, they are in a title race, and they're going to do very, very well Well, they don't have to do very well. I think they could play average and get 4 wins in the next 4 games in the Premier League. Obviously, a bit of Champions League football in between there as well after the international break. But it sets them up very, very nicely for that December period. Look at the squads. Spurs' squad isn't good enough. They're falling off. Arsenal have got the squad. Trossard can come in for Jesus. Tomiyasu can come in for Ben White. Jorginho can come in for Partey. It's not enough in the big games against the big sides, in my opinion. And they'll want Partey, Ben White, Jesus back for the big Champions League games, the big FA Cup semi-final games, and of course games against City, Liverpool, Man United in the crunch period of the title race. But Arsenal certainly in the Premier League title race. If you watch this far, make sure you subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you very, very soon.